welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you think you would make it this far? You're here.
No, I didn't. Because when Meera asked me, oh, do you want to do a photo shoot? I was like, no.
Oh, really?
No, not at all. And then, I'm really susceptible to peer pressure. So it kind of worked. I talked to Holly too. And, I thought about it like in the future, I'm going to really cherish these photos.
Yes, absolutely. So let's rewind. Let's talk about first, how did you even come into my world?
Okay, so I had done so many different types of things, always managing my weight because I always had to work at my weight.
Yeah.
Like, it was not an easy thing. I was not one of those people who could just lose it right away. Plus, I'm really short too. So I think that always made it hard. And, one of my friends who's in the media circle said, have you heard about Sue? And I was like, who's Sue? And she's like, oh, she's all the rage.
I like that. Thank you.
And everybody's using her.
Thank you,
and
friend.
she's really tough, but you do lose the weight.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll think about that. And I was like,
what was your first impression of me?
First impression.
When you first started following me, or
first I was looking and I was really interested, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep watching. Let's see, how hardcore is she?
Yeah.
Because I heard she's hardcore. And I was like, okay, but nothing you were saying was screaming that anything insane, have, celery all day long or something. So I was like, okay, a lot of the stuff you were talking about seemed very logical and coming from a educated perspective. So I was like, okay, she's not a quack.
Yeah.
Which, there is a lot of, on Instagram, there is so much garbage and filler and girls who have lost the weight, but they're 20 and they've they lost 10 pounds and they go to that weekend course and they're a trainer.
Yeah.
So,
and there's no logic behind their methods.
Yeah.
And it's they've tested it on themselves.
Yeah.
And they're selling programs without any kind of,
so I didn't want to kind of get into any of that business. So I did stalk you for a good 6 months.
Good.
I had a lot of stuff going on. I was moving, didn't have a house for a bit. And I just decided once I get settled into my new house, I'm going to sign up. I'm getting in that day. And I was like, when I start, I'm going to start.
We're a year apart, so you're 44.
Yep.
You had your last child
just 3 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was battling that baby weight still.
2019, what month? April?
No, I had the baby in November 2019.
Wow.
So she
was
was
pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic.
That was when, that was right before everything kind of went downhill.
March. Yeah, she was literally 4 months old when everything shut down. And
what was that like? How did it, as a new mom, and you had one child previous?
So I have a 6-year-old and now my daughter's 3.
So, you were out of that secludedness of being a new mom. You did it with your son. Now you're back in it, only now, add to it, everything's closed.
Yeah. So I'll start with 2 things. I think the social thing was a big aspect for me. I have had stints with anxiety and depression. I was on serotonin or sertraline, sorry. So I'm actually still on it, but on a very low dosage. So I struggled with those things, and the social kind of isolation was kind of hard because I really, really relied on a lot of friends. I mean, we did our Zooms and all that stuff that everybody did. It's not the same, right? And
not being able to leave your 4 walls.
Exactly.
It's going to take a toll on you and your baby and your son and your husband.
That's one thing that I actually really do love about your program is because, I've had people say, well, why do you need to pay somebody? She tells you what to do. You know the exercises. And I'm like, no, but there's a community and the weekly Zoom meetings actually get you motivated.
It felt like a social event.
Yeah, but they get you motivated and they keep you on task of, this is what I'm doing. It's not you're just working out on your own and whatever. You're telling all your concerns to other ladies in the group. You're hearing about things that are really important. I loved all of Sharice's talks, loved the hormonal talks.
And Sharice is our resident psychotherapist.
Yes.
She is has become a part of the team now.
Yeah.
Because I think, I didn't know that you were on the meds. But I think it's like, we can't do this whole lifestyle change without acknowledging that part of our lives.
Yeah.
That plays such a big role into, being able to change your lifestyle. It's a whole approach that you're trying to go at.
Yeah.
And it's head to toe, it's inside out, it's everything. So it's like everything comes into it. And that's why to be able to do a weight loss transformation, you need that part to also
go along with it.
It has to mirror the
you
same.
said something in a Zoom once that like resonated with so much. Is like taking care of yourself is almost like a full-time job, because it's the like making sure you get enough sleep, making sure you get to eat properly. Yeah, those are those things. You get activity in, but okay, your mindset, your are you meditating? Like, what's your stress levels? Like all those pillars of your life.
Are you nourishing your body? Like, do you give yourself enough time to prepare those meals that you know are going to make you feel better?
It is a full-time
job. Somebody else said that to me the other day that I was talking to. I can't remember who it was, but they said, you said that taking care of yourself, Sonia Lichavita, you said taking care of yourself is a full-time job. It truly is.
It is.
And so...
And then as being a mom, you're adding other people on there too.
Oh, yeah.
So it is like...
Were you ever this organized and disciplined when it came to you?
No.
Monitoring yourself. Am I eating? Am I sleeping? Am I doing what I need?
No.
Am I reading what I need to read? Am I listening to what I need to listen to?
I had, I had goals here and there. I've always been a big reader. I've always been up on trying to find out more about nutrition, trying to find out more about things just myself. But it wasn't organized in a way in my mind that, hey, these are the things that you should be doing for yourself.
Yeah.
And it really, after having my second baby in COVID, my husband was like, yeah, you take the time to do something for yourself. Because I kept saying, should I do it? Should I not do it? When I was just stalking you before I decided. He said, do it for yourself.
Yeah. It's funny how we contemplate as mothers.
Yeah.
Giving ourselves that time, spending that money on ourselves. It's like, it's always a question, and whether we should or shouldn't. And like, if you could only answer one question, which is this going to benefit you in the end? Is this going to make you a better person for yourself and for those that rely on me? And if the answer is yes, it shouldn't be a question of whether or not to do it, but we still
go through it. And you know what the funniest thing is, when people ask me, oh, how's the program? And I'm like, oh, it's good. Like sometimes I get shy. My husband is like, oh, it's amazing. She sleeps better. She's in a better mood. She actually takes care of what she's eating. She's so fit and blah, blah. Like, he will go on and on.
So
he's like,
proud.
Yeah, it's really cute. And, he's like, I tell everybody, how much you've done and whatever. And I had rosacea and that cleared up.
I can't even see that you would have it.
Yeah, I've always had that undertone of it, and a lot of it with the water and just regular
the anti-inflammatory foods.
Yeah, and I remember maybe 3 years, 4 years ago.
I keep telling you look young. And it's because I'm like, you're so young, right? But we're the same age, because you look really young.
Well, you know what? It took a while for me to understand to take care of myself. I remember once, I was doing, my son was only 3 years old, and we were going to do a photo shoot, just a family photo shoot. And I went to get my makeup done, and she was like, your skin is flaking. It's so dehydrated. Dry. And
you're like, did I drink water today?
Yeah.
That's the questions we're asking.
Yeah, and now I'm like, if I don't have, my 3 liters, I'm like,
yeah.
So it's changed, but it is that mindset to think about yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's there. And I bullet journal, so I try to take care of okay, am I getting my stuff in? Am I getting the stuff that I want for myself in?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a better, I'm a better role model for my kids that way.
Absolutely.
Like when you take care of yourself, your kids see it. Like my kids will, they're so little, but they'll come down and
But they'll remember
look at
how
me.
vibrant their mom was and how much
Yeah.
energy she had. Those are feelings
Yeah.
that you carry.
Yeah.
Through. We remember
Yeah.
how much energy our parents had and how,
Yeah, but
So-
when I started the program, I threw myself into it. Like the first 3-4 days, I remember I was like having hard sugar withdrawals, and I was like, "Somebody give me a Fudgio! Like I
Right
need
now.
a Fudgio."
You were buying Fudgios. Good. Let's talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, like my husband is not. My husband's never been overweight. Like he
Yeah.
is a guy who has, I don't know, 5,000-6,000 calories a day.
And he never gains.
He's worked
Yeah.
out every day of his life just because he's naturally, but he works out to get muscle because he's naturally super skinny.
Yeah.
And so he can eat
Good for
whatever he
him.
wants, but he doesn't just because he's like, I don't
health conscious.
feel
Yeah.
like that, right? And when I'd go through periods where I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna eat well, I'm gonna go whatever, and then okay, maybe I'll start, and then it would kind of snowball.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I went, and then basically when I made the decision that okay, I'm gonna do Sue, I kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna do Sue and whatever, and I was like, I'm 5 pounds up from when I decided I want to do Sue to now.
Exactly.
So sometimes I'm surprised. Like in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I can lose 30 pounds. I'm 44 years old.
Yeah. I just had a baby. I'm 4'11".
Yeah.
Like all these things
All
that
these
you
things.
think
And
were
he's like-
working against you.
And my husband used to say, like, whenever I'd be like, I don't know, I feel kind of whatever. He's like, what would Reena from 6 months ago say about what you're saying right now?
Yeah.
Like, he would slap you. Like, she would slap you.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is like crazy. Like you never thought you would be here, and now you're complaining.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
always want more.
We always want more.
Would you say you were somebody that consumed sugar on a regular basis? And how does that tie into, your mental health? And do you see the correlation of
Yes.
how the food has affected that?
100%. I was never a very big drinker, but I totally cut out the alcohol. I didn't really miss it, but I did miss the sugar.
The sugar, yeah.
Because I was a person who like me and my sister-in-law sometimes would be like, okay, January, no sugar, and we would do this extreme thing.
Yeah, it was an all or nothing approach.
Yeah, and then, I'd be like, okay, well, I'll start back with a cup of tea. And then, okay, let me have 2 cups of tea. Oh, you know what? It tastes so much better when you put like a whole teaspoon rather than half a teaspoon of sugar. And then slowly you're just consuming more sugar, right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I want to work on with my kids is because, like I mentioned, my son has muscular dystrophy, and for him, if there's steroids or any treatments in the future, his nutrition has to be very good, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm struggling with the kids. Like they see what I'm drinking when sometimes my son will come up and run and see, oh, you have a shake in your hand. And then he'll look at it and he'll be like, oh, it's green.
Yeah.
I don't want it. But he's like, if it's like a chocolate shake, he's like, oh, can I have a sip?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you can't. So that's one thing I want to like push into my family. And I see some of your things about updating about how you like get your kids to eat. And so that's my next kind of goal after, still maintaining working on myself.
Absolutely.
But getting
now
my
it's
family
time
more.
for you to work on your family.
Yeah.
So family program, that's your next step.
Yeah, I saw that. Excited about that.
So congratulations, minus 25 pounds.
30.
Minus 30 pounds
Yes.
on your tiny little body, post baby, post pandemic,
Yes.
and conquered it. And now next steps. Next photo shoot. So let's talk about Meera for a second. So you came in the program, your friend had inspired you, but you knew somebody already in the program.
Yeah.
So when you connected with Meera, what was it about her journey?
When I messaged Meera, like we had a trainer in the past together, and we kind of like commiserated over him a bit, and we touched base here and there. But then when I messaged her, I was like, how is it? And she was like, oh, it's amazing. Like the program is amazing, because I was still only a couple weeks in.
Yeah.
I think when I messaged you, And, you know, another friend said same thing because I was, you know, the workouts were hard. I was enjoying them, but they were really, really hard. And they're still like, you know, as
they're
I
very challenging.
Up the weight, they're still getting like harder. And, you know, she was like, stick with it. And, like, you know, she's basically same thing. She said it changed my life. And I was like, okay.
And now you guys are here together doing
Yeah.
photo shoots. So it's a beautiful, it's come full circle for both of you. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Congrats.
Thank you.